Okay, day 22. So today we'll start in child's pose. So find a comfortable child's pose. I know that child's pose is not comfortable for everybody, especially I think also people that don't like to be closed up. So there is nothing wrong with coming a little bit higher, placing blocks or pillows, and then just come a little bit higher. Child's pose can be with the knees wide or with the knees close together. Your forehead should touch on something. So if you're just waking up and your body is a little bit stiff, you might have to place a pillow or a block under your forehead, which is maybe something that you normally don't do. Your arms for now, I would say bring them to the back. Even if your knees are wide, if your arms come to the back, your upper arms are kind of resting onto your thighs. And that's fine. So we just want to have a relaxed spine. If your lower back is hurting, and as I said, a little bit of heat is always good. You can always take a blanket and put it on the lower back, just to give that, that attention to your lower back. And then find your comfortable position. So you just have to, when you're getting into a pose, we want to adjust. We want to almost feel super, super comfortable, especially like a child's pose, which is a pose where it's more relaxing, restorative pose. But if we continue to scan our body, there's always going to be one spot that's not going to be 100%. So first of all, it can give an indicator on how you are. If you are like everything has to be perfect before you can move on, this might just be an indicator of that personality trait. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, not at all. It's just an observation. However, if you're someone that just falls into the pose and then once you're settled after 2 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to change to very, very restless. That's also an indication of where your mind is at today. So those are just things that you can observe. In yoga, it's not just about the movements we make. It's a whole change that happens within you. And especially as we've been doing these, or we're still going on those 30 days, you might notice that there's some mental changes happening, more at the psychological level. So in your child's pose, with the arms to the back, if that's where you are, start to deepen your breath a little bit. So taking a deep breath in and feel how your back is opening up. You don't have a lot of space in the front. And then exhale and see how your body is sinking. So child's pose is a very soothing pose. It's also a pose I like to do when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm restless. And sometimes my body is restless. So I go into child's pose. I'm probably a bit higher with my head. And then I just breathe. I concentrate just on my breath. So continue those deep breaths. If you feel dizzy, you come back to a natural breath. So let's take 3 more breaths here. And then coming back to a natural breath. And then slowly bring the arms in the front. And so you want to keep your head down. But we're going to walk the fingers towards the front, but keep the hips where they are. So your hips remain heavy. Press your fingers into the floor. Press your whole hand now into the floor and feel how the rest of your arms is starting to activate. And then release your hands. Keep your hands where they are, but don't push. And then see if you can sink in between your shoulders. And then again, pressing, pushing the hips back, and gently release. Coming onto the fingertips. And then slowly starting to walk the hands towards the right. So on your fingertips, do that effort of walking on the fingertips, keeping the hips where they are, opening the left side of your body. So as you inhale, maybe you can walk your hands a little bit further away from your head. And then as you exhale, walk them a little bit more to the right. So creating that space, lengthening the spine. And then exhale, walking a little bit further. Let's stay here for 2 more breaths. And then slowly walking back to the center. Staying in the center for 1 cycle of breath. And then slowly starting to walk towards the left. So first we walk till we start to feel a stretch, and then we stop and we inhale, walk the hands a little bit further from your head, press your hips down. So you don't want to move your whole body towards the left. And then as you exhale, walk your hands a little bit more towards the left. So there's no need to go to your final stretch from the start. Opening the body gradually thanks to the breath. So deep breaths in, stay with your breath, deep breaths out. So as you're in child's pose, it's also giving your internal organs a little massage, especially if you have your knees together. And then slowly walking back to the center. And again, stretch your arms out, reach forward. Now start to roll the inside of your elbows out, your shoulders out, and just observe your upper back. So press your thumb and your index into the floor. Roll the inside of your elbow out. Roll the shoulder out. And feel a stretch. Feel an opening in the upper back. Maybe you also feel something in your upper arm. And then press your fingers into the floor and come up onto all fours. So just adjust your wrists a little bit, your knees so that they're as wide as your hips, and then start to make circles with your hips. And the circles don't have to be perfect. You can really move with your hips, bend your elbows, maybe move your head a little bit. Just making gentle circles. And changing direction, so very calmly opening the body. And then coming back to center. Let's lean a little bit forward. So we're gonna come with the shoulders in front of the wrist. If your wrists are already hurting, then you just stop where it starts to be a little bit too much. So you don't want to overstretch. So I'm almost going into a plank onto my knees, and I'm reaching forward in front of my wrists. And then I'm pressing back into my hands and I'm pushing my hips back. But this time I'm not going to come with my hips on my heels. I'm going to press my fingers down and see if I can lengthen my spine by pressing the hands down, rolling the inside of the elbows up, rolling the shoulders out. And then let's do this again, coming to the front, going a little bit further, giving that nice stretch to the inside of our wrists. So lots of weight onto the hands here. And then slowly coming back and lengthening the spine. And then coming back onto all fours. We're going to do another little stretch for the wrist. We're going to turn the palms, turn the fingers towards your knees. So that might not be accessible for you. If it's not accessible, see where you reach, but be very conscious about the movement, okay? So ideally we have the fingers, the middle finger pointing towards your knees. My shoulders are above my wrist, and then I'm gonna very, very, very slowly move my hips back. So big stretch in the wrist, big stretch in the lower arm. Especially if you sit at your computer and you're typing a lot, this is a stretch that is really very helpful. And then let's come back forward, turn the palms, come onto your knees and shake it out. Let's come back onto all fours and let's lift the left arm up. So go as high as you can, press your right arm into the floor. Open the chest. So if you can bring your left arm a little bit more back by opening the chest, go for it. It's a gentle practice today, so maybe go with your breaths, inhaling, exhaling. And now bring the left arm underneath the right. The palm is facing up. Reach as far as you can until your left shoulder comes on the floor, your left ear on the floor. So if that is all too low for you, take a block, take a pillow, place your ear or even your shoulder onto something higher. So we want to go and find support for the shoulder. If the shoulder is flying, we're not doing anything. So from here, a couple of options with the right hand. You can just leave the right hand in front of your face as a support and exhaling, letting go. You can reach your right arm up and finding a little bit more opening into the chest. But don't forget the focus is on the left shoulder, the weight. If you want to find a little bit more opening into the right upper back, then you reach your right arm forward and you find that opening around the scapula, around the shoulder blade. So relax your left side completely into the floor. Take 2 more deep breaths in. You can have your eyes closed, just relax. And then slowly bring the right hand next to your face. Come up, back into tabletop. And if you want to move, you can do cat-cow, or you can just invent your own choreography here to stretch out, to realign, and then coming back into neutral spine. So strong left arm, don't sink into your left shoulder. We're gonna inhale, reach the right arm up. Again, see if you can open up a little bit more, opening up the chest, opening up the shoulder. Maybe the shoulder blade can move a little bit more down. Take another deep breath in, press into your left arm, and then exhale, bring the left arm underneath the right, palm up, come onto your right shoulder, right ear. Use props. One side can be very different than the other. And then choose what works on this side for you. It doesn't have to be the same thing with your left arm as you did with your right arm. Maybe your left shoulder is a little bit more stiff, or your shoulder blade, then reach your arm forward or reach it up, or just keep it there. But the focus goes on letting go into the right shoulder, right ear. And then slowly bringing the left hand in front of your face, press yourself up and come onto all fours. And now we're gonna do cat and cow. So if you have lower back issues, what most of the time is gonna hurt more is gonna be the compression of the vertebrae in the lower back. So you wanna be mindful of that. We're gonna start with half the body, so half the upper body. So from our lower ribs to our tailbone, that's what we're gonna move first, to really understand that tilting of the hips. So let's inhale, lift the tailbone. So as we lift the tailbone and then you drop the belly, you should feel that there is a compression happening into the lower back, into the vertebra. So don't push it. If you feel that the pain is coming, move slowly, see till where you can reach. No pain. And then exhale, bring the tailbone down and bring the belly button up. So this should feel good. It might feel strange, but it should feel good. So here we're stretching the lower spine. Belly button really goes up. So I'm using my abdominals quite a lot. Let's do this 3 more times. So very consciously moving, if you can, moving with your breath. So if you have no issues with your lower back, just move, let the breath guide the movement. If you have lower back issues, you want to move a little bit more conscious. Exhaling, rounding, one more time, inhaling. And then exhaling. And then coming back to neutral spine. So now we're going to do full cat and cow. So in French, it's chien et chat, cat and dog. So I think the image of a cat that meets a dog is a little bit more real than a cat and a cow. But so you just have to work with what works best for you. Inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly button. Imagine one vertebrae is pushing the other like a domino game. So you arrive at the shoulder girdle and your shoulders are starting to roll back, and then your neck starts to curve as well, and only then you're looking up. So my neck is quite long, I'm strong in my arms. And then as you exhale, tailbone goes down, belly button goes up. Press into your hands. Imagine one vertebrae at a time, moving in your spine. Your shoulders move forward, your chin moves to your chest because your neck is part of your spine. Now go for 4 more like this at the rhythm of your breath. Feel the whole movement. I think this is one of the most beautiful combinations of 2 poses that I know within, that I can feel really within. I keep my eyes closed. So very good thing to do in the morning to warm up the spine. And you can do it during your day as well. You can do this seated. You're placing the hands on the thighs and you just curve around the spine at the rhythm of your breath. So one more time, I think. And then neutral spine. So now we're going to walk the hands back a little bit. We're going to tuck the toes. So tuck your toes. Place your bum onto your heels if you can. Otherwise, you place a pillow underneath. And then bring your forehead down again. So we're in a different kind of child's pose. Bring your forehead down, grab your feet. So the fingers are on the inside, the thumb is on the outside, and the palm of my hand is on my heel. And then I'm going to lift my head a little bit, and I'm going to see if I can bring the crown of my head a little bit closer to my knees. So we're going to go and stretch open the upper spine mainly. So push your toes down, hold on to your knee, hold on to your feet, and then start to lift your hips up. Maybe you can bring your head a little bit closer and feel that opening into the shoulders, into the upper back. Your lower back is quite neutral here. So you're really rounding in the upper back. Maybe you can bring your head a little bit closer. Maybe you're already on the crown of your head. Keep on breathing. It's a little bit more difficult here. 2 more breaths here, so go for it. And then slowly coming back, placing the hands next to your head and very slowly push yourself up, especially if you have blood pressure issues. You want to go slowly. Untuck your toes and let's come onto our knees. So we just did a forward fold. Now we're going to open everything. So knees underneath the hips, and you want to really keep your hips aligned with the knees. Bring your hands in the back, so the heel of the hand comes on the bony part, the start of your sacrum here, the start of your hips. Roll the shoulders back. Bring the elbows back. So just that can be already enough for you as a chest opener. If you find this difficult to hold here, you might want to interlace your hands and then go and work for this. Especially if you have a lower back issue, you might want to just interlace your hands so that you're not going to go into that lower back, but you're just going to work with the opening of the chest. Otherwise, so hands, fingers pointing down, roll the shoulders back. Start to lift the chest bone, so the sternum, the middle bone, the one that keeps the ribs together. Start to lift it up and then slowly going back. So my lower back, for the moment, there's nothing happening. I'm actually lowering my tailbone to keep that space into my lower back, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chest up. If your lower back is healthy and happy, then you can continue. Lots of strength into the quadriceps. That's what's going to hold you. Roll the shoulders back, lift up, maybe go back a little bit more. Don't force it. If you stop to breathe, you come back. If you're not stopping to breathe, breathe deeply. Maybe go back a little bit. Let's do 2 more breaths here. And then with an inhale, coming back. And release. So for now, stay onto your knees, place your hands onto your hips, and bring the right foot to the right. So my toes are pointing in the same direction as my knee. I'm not having my foot to the side. So I'm really going to work with a side bend here. So keeping the foot there, make sure you have a good grip on the floor. And you see, depending on how your hips are, I can maybe bring my hips a little bit more centered. So maybe for you, that's the same. You can tilt your hips so that your shoulders and your hips are aligned. So press your right foot into the floor, reach your arms up. Take a breath in. So watch out again that you don't curve in the lower back here, but maybe bring the tailbone a little bit more down, not exaggerating. We're not looking for a flat back. We're just looking for a neutral spine. Take a breath in and then bring your right arm towards your right leg. So you can place it on your right leg, reach the left arm up and then go to the right. You won't get very far, like the femur here is locked into your hip socket. So depending on how your hip socket is built, how your femur fits in, you might go far or you might hardly move. So everybody's different for that. So don't compare too much or don't think you have to go far. We're looking for an opening on the left side. Obviously you feel something on your right side. So push your hips a little bit more to the front. And then coming back. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine, and then bring your left hand on the floor. So again, if this is too deep, too far away, take a block, place your hand onto a block. I wouldn't suggest a pillow here because we're going to put quite a lot of weight on the wrist. So if it's too soft, the wrist cannot control the movement. But it's okay if you suddenly fall or you have to go really down with your upper body. We're going to come in, straighten up in a minute. So now start to lift your right leg up. You can keep your right hand onto your hip. Lots of work in the inner leg here. Flex your foot. If your left wrist is hurting, you can always come onto your fist. And then if you want, you can reach your right arm up. Press your hips forward here. So you don't want to go into a banana pose. You want to really find length between your right heel and the crown of your head. And then turn the palm towards your head, so towards the front. And maybe you can stretch out. Maybe you can lift your right leg a little bit higher. If this is all too much and you're compensating everywhere, Just bring your big toe on the floor, just like hovering on the floor. Opening up, stretch your right arm out, push your right heel back. And then slowly bring the right foot back down and make your way back up. Now turn the foot out so that the toes are pointing towards the short side of your mat. And then bring your foot a little bit closer. And then we're gonna just gently bend, watch out for your left knee. Place your right elbow onto your right thigh. So my right knee is above my right ankle. Reach your left arm up. And then this time, push your hips back and reach your arm forward. So I have a lot of weight pushing into my right foot. And I'm opening my left side again, but in a different way. So you see the position of the leg, how it makes a total difference of how the femur, the biggest bone in our body, which is the thigh bone, fits into the hip socket. And then slowly coming back and release. So if you need to stand up for a moment and move, you can do that. Otherwise, we're moving to the other side. Take a breath or two if you need to. And then bring the left side, the left leg towards the left. So make sure that your foot is on the mat so that you don't slip. Toes are pointing towards the long side. See if you can just give that little tilt into your hips so that your shoulders and your hips are aligned. Maybe that's not possible for you. Again, it's really this construction. So take a breath in. Lengthen your spine. Reach the arms up. And then exhale, bring the left hand onto the left leg. So my left leg is strong. I'm pushing with my foot into the floor and then go over towards the left. Make sure you don't push your hips back. So staying in line, reaching the right arm over. Keep on breathing, create space, open the armpits. And then slowly coming back. This time, bring your right hand on the floor. So my right hand is in line with my right knee. On the floor, on the mat, lift your left leg. So push the heel away. My left leg is not just hanging there, because otherwise your whole body is gonna hang in the pose. So press that heel away. Press your arm, open your chest, and then reach your left arm up. Maybe you can push your hips a little bit more. Inhale, exhale. Maybe lift a little bit high. And then start to reach your left arm away from your left heel, finding that length into the side of the body. The arm is very close to the ear, so don't drop your head. Press into your right arm. Don't sink in the right shoulder. And then slowly coming back to the center. This time, turning the toes, the left toes out, bending the left knee so that your knee is above your ankle. Rest your left forearm on your left thigh. Open up, reach up, and now reach to the left. And then slowly coming back, release, and let's turn around and bring the legs to the front. So you might feel that something happened in your hips. So we've been doing quite a lot of opening more in the bony part of the hips. So not so much in the muscle part. So really finding that space in your whole pelvic floor. So bring your legs to the front. Here, you might probably need a blanket or a pillow to support one side. So place your left hand on the floor and then lean over towards the left, grab your right ankle, and then bring the toes the right toes back. And then, so your right knee is bent. So first of all, if this is too much for your knees, you're gonna sit high on something. So there is no problem at all to find a little bit more height, so to protect your knee. My heel is on the outside of my hip. So left leg is active, my right knee is bent, my upper body is quite straight here. So if you're falling back, make sure that you find maybe a little bit more height so you can sit properly. Take a deep breath in and inhale, reach the arms up, interlace your hands, turn the palms up and reach your palms up. So press your bum down, press your left foot down and reach up. Take a breath in and then as you exhale, turn towards the right with your arms there. And then inhale, lengthen, exhale, left hand on my right leg, right hand in the back. Roll the right shoulder back and then the shoulder blade down. So take the time to do this and observe what happens with your chest and the twist. So I'm not leaning back. So if this is not comfortable for your knee, just bring both your legs forward, please. I don't want you to hold too much in one part of your body. We're trying to release into the spine. So open the chest, roll the right shoulder back, inhale, twist. 2 more breaths here. So I'm starting going to the right side because this is the ascending column. So you want to really think about what you're actually doing. Also, if you think, what does it matter which side I'm twisting first? So here we're like more pressing whatever is on the right side to the left. And then when we go to the left, we press it more down. And that's the natural direction of things. So inhale, reach up. Make yourself as tall as you can from your hip crease. And so that's something I will show after. From your hip crease, you want to start to fold forward. So if you want, take your hands like sharp hands like this and put them in your groin, both sides. Look forward. And then with a straight back, straight left leg, see how far you can go. Probably not very far. So if your lower back starts to hurt you, you back off. No pain in the lower back. My spine is neutral here. The only place I should really feel a stretch is in the hamstrings, and I have a lot of work to do in my upper body to keep it straight. If you want to let go of your hands in the groin area, you can place them on your leg, or if you can reach your foot, but don't round the spine. So we want to keep the chest open. We want to keep the spine neutral. Inhale, exhale, maybe go a little bit deeper. Move gently. And then inhale, reach the arms back up. And exhale, turn to the other side. So we're turning to the left, right hand on the left leg. Roll the left shoulder back and then open up. And then inhale back to center. Exhale down. Lean towards your left side. Be very careful when you take your right leg out. So grab your right ankle, lean as much as you need so that you can move the toes and the knees in the same direction. And then coming back forward. Maybe you need to shake it out a little bit, but it's a turn to the left side. So bring the right hand onto the floor, bend your left knee, grab your left ankle, and then lean over so that you have the space to move the foot, the ankle, and the knee in the same line. So you don't want to push your foot to the side. That's not very good for your knee. So here you might have to adjust the height you're sitting on. If you're sitting on a height, maybe you don't need a height here. Press your left leg down. Activate your right leg. Push the right heel away. And then inhale, reach the arms up. So when I'm reaching my arms up, I'm lengthening my elbows. I'm reaching my fingertips up. I'm like almost as if I want to stretch each of my fingers up and see what happens. What does it do to the rest of the body? You cannot stretch your fingers unless the whole of the body is following or helping. Take a breath in. And then exhale, turn towards the left. So right hand on the left side, left hand in the back. Roll the shoulder back and then start to rotate. So roll the shoulder back, shoulder blade down. Inhale, exhale, release in your belly. See if you can release a little bit in your belly to go for that rotation. Two more breaths here. And then inhale, come back up, come back to the center, lengthen out again. So again, if you want to make your hands very sharp and place them in your hip crease, roll the shoulders back, lengthen your spine. Active right leg, and then reach forward. So it's almost as if I'm pushing my back upper ribs into my chest. And then I can open up, I can lengthen, my lower back is totally neutral. Again, if you want to bring the hands to your leg, to your foot, without rounding the spine, so don't go too deep. Keep your hands onto your thighs. Of course, you can always use a strap, but since we don't stay very long, and I don't want you to pull too much, it's a gentle class today, so we just want to open, hopefully in every direction. And then slowly come back up. So I'm not pulling up, I'm moving from my hip crease up and then reaching the arms up. Take a deep breath in and then exhale towards the right this time. So right hand in the back, roll the shoulder back, shoulder blade down, left hand on the left leg. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly coming back to center, reach up again, find that length. Exhale, hands to the side. Place your right hand down, grab your left ankle, move consciously. So you might have to almost fall on your right side to be able to move that left knee in a safe way. So if you sit on something, you can stay on there. If you want to, we're gonna open up the inner thighs now. So lengthen your legs, open the legs, toes pointing up, knees pointing up. So the knees will always stay and pointing up. Now place your hands onto your thighs and press your thighs into the floor. So if you're sitting very high, just don't push your knees down. You wanna just have a little weight so that you can make sure that your legs are straight. And I'm sitting on the front of my sitting bones here. If I'm going to sit on the back of my sitting bones, I cannot reach my hip crease, which is where I want to bend from. First, bring the hands in the back, fingertips pointing to the back, roll the shoulders back, press into your hands, and lift your chest. So I'm not lifting my bum off the floor. My lower part of my upper body and the rest is heavy on the floor. I just want to use that weight of the rest of my body to be able to open my chest, maybe do a gentle back bend, but purely in the upper back. So this is something we really have to learn, is to do back bends, but just in the upper back for now. Lower back bends, lower back bends is not for everybody. And then gently coming back. If you want to move further, if you're not rolling back, then you can bring your hands in the front. If you're rolling back, just keep your hands in the back. Maybe you can start to bend from your hip crease. Again, no sensation in the lower back here, purely going forward. neutral spine. A little bit of sensation in the inner thighs, that's okay. That's what we're looking for. And maybe at a certain point, you can bring the forearms down, or if your hands are down, now you start to round the spine. So if you have lower back issue, don't round the spine, just stay in a very neutral position. Otherwise, round the spine, drop your head. Knees are still pointing up to the sky if you're falling forward. If you're rolling forward, then everything will move inward. So we want to keep that opening. And then slowly coming back. Very gently close your legs. And now let's come onto our back. And first of all, we're gonna open really the hips with a happy baby pose. So lengthen out the left leg. Spine is neutral. Bring the right arm inside your right leg. And then grab the outside of your foot. So if you're here and you're okay to do that, fine. If you need help, take a strap and place it around your right foot and hold on to the strap as close as you can to your right foot. My shoulders are on the floor, my head is on the floor. There's actually not a lot working for now. And then I'm starting to lift my foot, but I keep my knee very close to my shoulder. So my arm is on the inside, my knee is on the outside of my arm, and my knee is on the most probably on the outside of my body. Again, depending on how you're built. So my left side is acting as a counterweight. So activate the left leg. You can bring your left hand just alongside your body with the palm down, or if you prefer, you can open up your arm, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter so much. Take a breath in and then see if you can pull your right foot a little bit more down. So my foot is parallel with the floor, my right thigh is parallel with the floor, and I'm pressing my left leg into the floor. If I don't, I'm going to start to round my spine. So you want to keep the hips very stable here. And then now bend your left knee without moving anything into the lower back and start to press your right knee a little bit more out. Grab your right foot with your left hand and bring the right foot over to the left. So we're gonna open the hip in a different way. Your right hand can be on your inner thigh, close to the knee, and then bend and lift your left knee and gently start to press against your right leg with your left thigh. Your left foot now can be totally relaxed, so nothing to do with your left foot. Take a breath in, exhale. So don't lift the lower back. We're not crunching the abs here. The abs are open, wide. The lower back is probably resting onto the floor, and that's fine. That's a safe position for the lower back. And then slowly release the left foot onto the floor. The knee is bent. Reach your right leg up. Press your heel away. Toes are pointing towards you, but don't over tilt the foot. So the sole of the foot is parallel to the floor and your toes can be really extended. And then very slowly bring the right leg down. So keep the right leg very active. Bring the left knee in. Left arm on the inside. Grab the outside of your left foot with your left hand. So my fingers are going around the outside. My fingers are on the sole of my foot. My thumb is on the top of my foot. And then start to lift your foot towards the ceiling, but keep your knee in position. So your knee is very close to the floor. It's relative, okay? So if your back thigh is tight and all this, it's most tendons here. So you can always use a strap. So take a few breaths here. Every exhale, release a little bit more into the hips. And then bend your right knee. Find that support. Start to move your right foot towards your left foot towards the right. Grab your left foot with your right hand. Place your left hand on the inside of your left thigh at the height of your knee. So don't push too much onto your knee, but just above. Start to push your knee away. Bring the left foot in, and then bring the right thigh against your left leg. Again, relax the right foot. Flex the left foot, and then take a few breaths here. Watch out that you don't lift your bum too much, so release if you need to in your right leg. If you feel that your bum is lifting up and you're really pressing the lower back into the floor. The lower back is touching the floor. That's okay, but you don't want to press down. And then place the right foot down, sorry. Reach the left foot up. So push your heel away, press the hip down. And then slowly bring the left leg down and move your left foot to the left corner. Extend your right leg to the right corner. Bring your arms in Shavasana. Make sure that in Shavasana, your hands and your feet and your body is actually not touching anything else but the floor, or if you have a blanket, but that there is nothing that, by example, a block that you forgot that you're touching with one hand, because that's a trigger to your nervous system. So if you want to really completely relax, clean up around you before you settle into your Shavasana. So releasing, even from a very calm practice, a slow practice. We've been moving consciously, so we have to release that part as well. It's almost like cutting the connection between orders from the brain and execution of the body. So if you want to stay here longer, if you have the time, please do. Otherwise, slowly start to move your toes. Eventually bring the legs a little bit closer to each other. Maybe moving the toes in and out. So moving in the hips, moving in the fingers, the wrists. Taking a breath in, reaching the arms up and overhead, and give yourself that big stretch. Whatever you need in this moment, very important. And then bring the knees into the chest. Roll over to the right side, make a pillow with your right arm. Gently press with your left hand into the floor. Keep your head heavy and come into a comfortable seated position. Keep your eyes closed. If you're still in Shavasana, it's perfect. Just observe whether you're seated or still lying down. Take a moment to observe how your body feels, even after a calmer practice. how your mind is reacting to this calmer practice. And then slowly bring the hands in front of the heart, gently tucking the chin. So don't drop your head. It's just a gentle lowering of the frontal brain. Namaste.